morning. For fall 2020, we were ranked #1 for delivering results across the entire category of website builders. And if you do want to check it out yourself, we do have a 14-day free trial. And if you go to bit.ly/try Duda, you can check things out there. Covered most of these things, but really, what we're focusing on is delivering value. We want to make sure that anybody who is using their website as part of their overall marketing strategy, and it is such a key channel right now as we're all probably working at home for the most part. Everybody is remote, and so being able to get things to your customers using the digital channel is absolutely critical. So what we're going to talk about today is how do you tune your website and how do you get things set up in such a way that folks really can find out what they're looking for, interact with you, get in touch with you, and make sure that that site is delivering the business value that you need it to. It needs to be telling a story about your business. Can't just be sharing commodity type information. It needs to be really engaging. So a lot of strong visuals, photos, beautifully designed images, and again, really having consistent branding throughout the site as well. And I'll talk through this as we go through some examples a little bit later on in the presentation. And really needs to reflect the quality of service that you are bringing to your customers when they come to engage with you, be it you're a service business or if you are delivering some sort of physical product as well. So this year has been really different. We have seen some really significant changes in the way customers and businesses are interacting. I think we've all been on one or both sides of that. And so the ability to have a comprehensive digital presence and really be able to deliver every aspect of your business that you can through that digital channel, through your website, looks like I may have gotten accidentally muted there, so let me bring that back, and hopefully folks can hear me now. And everybody should be good now. And let me know in the chat if you're not able to hear me. But what we're seeing is about half of small businesses, somewhere between a third and a half, are still looking to create websites, and we are seeing more of that as small businesses that might have been 100%.
Chris, sorry to interrupt for a second. I don't know if anybody else can see your screen, but I do not see your screen anymore.
Okay, looks like when we got muted here, that might have dropped. Let's put that back and make sure that everybody is set up on that. Thank you for letting me know.
Sure, no worries.
And how about now?
Yep, looks good. We got it.
All good?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So really the core thing here is this is definitely the time to do it, and it needs to be something that is really heavily differentiated from competitors. So
sorry,
a couple
Chris.
of the things to think about yep.
Sorry, Chris, just before I interrupt any further, I just need, my boss has just asked me to record this just so we can use it for the other staff members. Do I have permission to record?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for asking.
Whenever I ask, it just gives me a please ask the host to give you permission. So just waiting on you.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do here is let me make sure that
It actually is going to be
I've
recorded.
got
So it'll
things
be sent
set
to
up
you guys.
here. And um, I think the host, that is probably the folks on the HoneyBook side.
Yeah, it'll all be recorded and it'll be sent out to you guys. So no need to record. We've got that
Okay,
covered.
so you guys have that sorted, Mac? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be recorded and sent out to everybody.
Okay. Okay, cool. Thank you. That is awesome. So, when a funnel, and in doing that, what we need to do is make sure that we are focusing all the way from however that channel that first introduces a customer or prospect to you gets to the site and then gets through to whatever the final business goal is that you're trying to achieve. So upfront is that organic search through Google? Is it social? Is it some sort of paid ads? And need to be thinking top to bottom, ultimately, what is the goal that you are trying to drive to? Is it someone contacting you? Is it someone filling out a form? Is it someone giving you a call? And then working backwards from there into how do they find out that this is the thing that they should be doing? How do you get them to that point in the website flow? And then again up front and really sort of at the top of the funnel, thinking about how do people get to your website in the first place? Is it organic search? Is it through paid ads? Is it through some sort of promotion that you're doing to either existing customers or prospective customers through email newsletters? Really thinking top to bottom through that funnel. So with that in mind, thinking about, okay, what are the new things that are happening that are going to affect that? And especially since so much traffic for sites is coming in through search still, really need to be thinking about what are some of the trends that are happening in that part of the business. And a huge part of this obviously is how do you get more traffic for free from Google? And to do that, you need to be ranking very, very well in Google search. And Google have just announced that they are going to be looking at a whole raft of new factors going into 2021 that are 100% around end user experience. So when somebody comes to a website, these are the types of things that they are going to expect. And Google has started to figure out some ways of more or less objectively measuring these types of things. And there are three areas in particular that Google has just announced this year over the last couple of months that they are calling core web vitals. And we're going to get into each of those in a little bit more detail. And these are around the size of particular objects and assets on your website. How long does it take for somebody to actually begin to interact with your site once they get to it? And is the site stable and accessible for the visitors who are coming to that site? Sites also very much need to be able to work exactly the way you want them to, and more importantly, the way your customers want them to on mobile. They need to be secured with an SSL certificate and use HTTPS. And they need to let customers and visitors do the thing they're trying to do. So putting big huge pop-over intrusive ads in front of them is something that Google is going to look unkindly at as they are going through and trying to figure out really how to rank your site in the search results. And again, we do have a blog post if you want to dig into the details there. If you go to blog.duda.co/google-page-experience, you can see some deep information on all of these different aspects of page experience and what Google is starting to look at. Now, these 3 core items that they are calling their core web vitals, these are new types of analyses that Google is using to decide how well does a site rank in search. And this is, they've got hundreds of different ranking factors. These are some of the ones they really want folks who are setting up sites to be thinking about. So the first of these 3 core web vitals is called largest contentful paint. And of course, being Google, they have all of these really obscure acronyms for everything. So I'm going to try and, break it down. As we had to look at this, it's like, okay, what are they really talking about? So for largest contentful paint, what they are meaning is when someone first comes to the site, anything that's going to be on the screen, whatever the biggest object is on that screen, how long does it take to load? And if that is less than 2.5 seconds or so, Google's going to say, okay, that's good. If it's between 2.5 and 4 seconds, that they're going to throw the the yellow light on that. And if it's over 4 seconds, then that's going to be poor. And again, this is for whatever the single biggest object is when somebody first comes to your web page. This is the thing that they are going to be looking at. And so what you want to do is you want to reduce that. If you can get that below 2.5 seconds, this is key. 3 tips to do that is, number one, regardless of what service you're using to host your, this is something that you need to be looking at is, number one, just in general, speed up server response time. So when you start to load the page, server needs to do all of its stuff to pull all that content together, start delivering it to the site visitor. So speeding that up just from the get-go can reduce largest contentful paint. The second is optimize images. Huge images just take a long time to go through the the pipes of the internet. And so optimizing those images, reducing their file size, making sure that they are being served at the correct size for the screen that they're being displayed on. These are all things that you can do. And then the third is use a content delivery network, or a CDN. And what that means is there are lots and lots and lots and lots of servers all over the planet, and most modern website hosting providers, including Duda, have the key content for sites sort of cached out at these local locations on a content delivery network. And so it helps in speeding things up, because usually these CDN sites are closer to the actual end users who are asking for the information. And so making sure that you have a CDN set up, especially for images and a lot of the other kind of core files that get served all of the time, can really help to reduce this as well. The second of these 3 core web vitals that Google looks at is what they call first input delay, or FID. And this is measuring interactivity. So when you get to a site, what you want to happen is, or when somebody gets to your site, what you want to happen is when the user tries to click on a button or tries to tap on a button if they're on their mobile, the site needs to do something. It needs to actually react and be interactive to that input that the end user just gave it. And what that means is you want to reduce this first input delay to as small a amount of time as possible. 100 milliseconds is 1/10 of a second. So that's what you're trying to aim at. There's some technical things that you can do. There is CSS, which is a lot of the styling information on web pages. You can try and have that load later than the rest of the page if it's not critical. You can try and reduce the size of that CSS so it gets to the website faster. And if you're calling out to any kind of third-party code, things like Facebook pixels or ad servers or those types of things, trying to reduce or defer as much of that stuff as possible. We try and help out with as much of this automatically as we can as well from the Duda side, just as part of our infrastructure. And then the third and final of the three core web vitals is what Google calls cumulative layout shift, or CLS. And what this is something I hadn't really thought about, but then as soon as it was pointed out to me, made a ton of sense. It's like, oh, of course you don't want this to happen. What this means is this is trying to reduce that really, really, really annoying case when you have a website, you have a page, you see a button or other object on there or other link on there that you're about to click on. And as you're about to click on it, something loads above it or next to it, and it moves as that new thing loads in, and you end up clicking on the wrong thing. And that is just a horrible experience for the end user. And so what you want to do is make sure wherever possible, you're reducing the amount of instability that your website has from a visual standpoint when people come to visit that site. And you don't want to have intrusive, ads coming in that start pushing things around. You want to load items to where they're actually going to be on the place, even if it's sort of a placeholder as that item gets loaded in, that's okay. And we try and help with that, especially by having really well-designed templates that take a lot of this into account as well. So these are a lot of the things that Google is looking at, and these are some of the new things that have come into web design in 2020. So now let's think about, okay, how do you make your website really different? How do you make your website stand out in the crowded field of all of the other competitors who are really trying to get the same attention of the site visitors and prospective site visitors that you're going for? First and foremost, tell your story. There is something unique about what you are doing, how you are doing it, how you got there. And this is going to, veer completely almost 180 degrees away from the technical stuff we were just talking about into the storytelling side of things. So it's got to be your story. It's got to be your brand. It's got to be all of the things that make you super, super, super unique. Those are the things that you want to be telling as part of the story. You want to be using all of the different assets that you have available to you. So images, video, you want to make sure that you're using all of the different senses where possible that you have available to you through the digital medium to tell that story. You want to make sure that social proof is there, because people are making a decision, perhaps a significant decision. If you are doing wedding planning or a wedding photographer, somebody needs to understand they are about to work with somebody who is going to be foundational in creating this experience that they are working for on one of the most important days of their lives. And so you want to make sure that you're showing the social proof. And these are reviews and awards and accolades and examples of the types of things that you have done in the past. So people get that level of trust, they get that level of confidence that they are about to engage or about to get in that first conversation with somebody who has done this before, and it really helps reduce some of that anxiety, feel like, folks are reducing their risk by working with somebody who has included a lot of social proof on their website. And also start thinking about the different types of visitors you have, and personalize the site where you can. This is an example where the types of things that you might show to a first-time visitor might be different than the types of things you show to somebody who's been on that site 3 or 4 or 5 times in the past. And so the things that you want them to do and you want them to be aware of the first time are going to be different. You want to also make sure that you are showcasing things that are going to be relevant for those audiences. So for existing folks who might have already signed up for your newsletter, for example, don't keep asking them to do that. They've already done it. If they are someone you recognize and you know they're already a customer, show them the login page. Don't necessarily show them the about or your company page, because they probably already know that. And so those are the types of things that you want to think about with respect to the personalization side of things. So at this point, going to switch gears a little bit and really get into the examples of what various folks have done as they have built out their sites. And so the first one I'm going to go to here is David the Window Man. And this is a gentleman who is a window cleaner and home service professional based in Asheville, North Carolina. There are a few things I love about this site, and I'll go in and show the site in a second here. Number one, from top to bottom, really addresses the clear business goals, and that is baked into every interaction on the site. The second is all of the personality that comes through in this site, tons of social proof, and has done a really good job of optimizing the site for local search as well. So what I'm going to do here is jump over and get to David's site, and hit me up in the chat here if you're not able to see David's site, but hopefully everything is showing up okay. And what we are going to do here is take a look at all of the different sites or the different parts of the site. So just starting at the top, nailed it. We know David has a clue about social. We've got Facebook and Instagram links right up top here. We talked about social proof. Literally the first thing that you see coming to the site is, tons of reviews, 4.9 out of 5 star rating. That's a great thing. We have some inkling as to the things that David as a business owner cares about. And if you wanted to dive into what does it mean that his business is living wage certified, you can dig into that. And of course, the thing that matters, when we talked about that funnel a little bit earlier, was what's the thing you want someone to do when they come to the site? It is up, loud, in your face, in bright red, call David or get a free estimate. And so all the core things that he's trying to do are literally in the top like 2 inches of the site, and done in a way that isn't overbearing. It's very graceful. It's well designed. It's the stuff that somebody who is trying to make this decision is going to want to know, and it's right there in your face. A couple other things that he's done really well. Again, window cleaning, a hyper local service. So if I'm coming in from Tacoma, Washington, okay, not really the guy who's going to be able to help me, because this is a local service area. So site is highly optimized for Asheville. It's mentioned in a number of places, and if you get into other parts of the site, again, bringing up Asheville, North Carolina, talk about some of the different services he offers. This right here is key, because if you see your town name on that list, then you're going to say, oh, okay, cool. David has me covered. I see exactly the area on the map, again, visually, in addition to in text format, doing what it should do, which is saying, am I a potential customer for David or not. And this is exactly what you want to do. The other bit is talked a lot about personality. This site just exudes humanity and personality. You know, when I think of the dude coming to clean the windows at the house, my initial thought is not smiling guy in a vest. And it's like, oh, okay, this guy looks cool. And more importantly, this guy looks really interesting. So I want to learn a lot more about David. And so I can go in, I can learn his backstory. I literally have his history, sort of his philosophy. Now we get into the details that he hinted to up here about being living wage certified. So these are the types of things that, you know, are part of the whole product, if you will, that he is offering. It's not just clean windows, it is all of these other things. The differentiators and the key aspects of his business that were probably things that over the 19 years he's been in business, he has heard from folks either why they chose him or why they didn't choose somebody else. And so those are right up there. And again, every page makes it so easy to take that bottom step of the funnel that you need the website to do, which is, in his case, the conversion he's looking for, which is give him a call, fill out the form. And again, you know, I'm not sending it to, you know, anonymous company. I'm sending to David. And so I just love this site. It is so clear. Artisan Launchpad, who was the agency that helped develop this for David, just love the overall work that's done on this site. And I think it's just a stellar example of really, really, really doing it right. So that's the first of the three examples I wanted to go through. Second one here is Progression Beach Volleyball. And since I am switching back and forth with Windows, I'm just going to leave it slightly smaller here just for a moment. These folks have done a really good job. This is an indoor beach volleyball training facility outside of Chicago. And this business, when you think about the type of business that is really, really, really potentially at risk in a pandemic year, they have done a really outstanding job of using the digital channel in order to mitigate some of that risk that they had. So jump over to their site now. They've done a really good job. Again, the core things that you would expect to see on a site like this. You've got video, you've got a wonderful kind of background image that's showing what their facility is like. Again, some social proof here. But the stuff that I really wanted to focus on here was the fact that one of the things that they've got, especially when they're talking about kids who might be going there, is, okay, what's their COVID update? What are they doing in a case where this could potentially seem like a really high-risk endeavor to send your kids or teens to a place where they're inside with other folks? So what are they doing? They have an entire section of their site talking about all of their mitigation strategies and everything that they have been doing. So here's what we're doing. Here's our commitment. Here are the changes in protocol that they have done. So only a 4-to-1 and sometimes 2-to-1 player to coach ratio. They're super, socially distant while folks are there. They try to almost podify the folks who they are working with. And one of the things that they have here is their mitigation plan. So you really want to dive deep on this. Yep, we've got the FAQ, but if you click on this download plan here, they actually have put up a PDF of their step-by-step plan that they have put together. They have graphics of here's how the facility is set up. Here's where people are going. Here are the paths that people are going through. Here's the protocol when you arrive, when you get there, what's happening during, what's happening after, what kind of screening policies do they have. So they've just done a fantastic job of thinking through these things that are absolutely top of mind for their customers and prospective customers, and trying to set them at ease and use their website as the communication mechanism to bring all of that data out there. Third example I wanted to go through here quickly was a site that recently launched and recently got updated from Bozuma St. John's. So Bozuma is the CMO over at Netflix. Prior to that, Uber and Apple, and a host of other consumer packaged goods companies as well. In addition to her work and part of sort of her entire personal brand, this is the type of stuff that, in addition to the day job as CMO at Netflix, has a whole host of other things that are happening as well. Again, there is nothing shy about this site at all. It is upfront, it is loud, it brings in a couple of really interesting components. So the other sites that we saw, the conversion that they were going for was really reach out to us, contact us, let us get you scheduled, get a window cleaning set up for you, get a session set up at the volleyball. Bozuma site here at the Badass Workshop is looking for two completely different types of conversions. The first is, it is a membership site. She has an online coaching program that is video-based, that is for sale, and this site is the anchor point for people to become members of sort of her insider club, if you will, to get access to these various pieces of video content that she is selling. And then the second is, as part of somebody who is really building a really strong online community, there are all sorts of different types of merchandise that are available as well. So if we look at this site, again, just a really stellar execution of a lot of the things that we've been talking about over the last 30 minutes or so. So we've got a lot of big, bold, eye-catching imagery up above the fold here. We've got a video that's included, again, right above the fold, and everything here gets into everything about the brand and the emotion that being part of this community really communicates. It's very clean, very well designed, and again, really brings that brand forward. The interesting things are the fact that it is again, a membership site. So if you want to sign up for any of these 5 sessions in the series, you can do that. You can go in and you can sign up for any aspect of that. You can sign up for one or more of the particular sessions that are there, and you can sign up for 1, 2, or all of them. Pricing is very clear. Again, very, very simple. Can do this and actually execute this all through the website. And then the other super cool thing is within the last couple of weeks, launched not just the membership portion, but also the merch store as well. So in addition to all of the things that you can get by being part of the membership site, from the learning and the online video components, you can also get all of the various merch as well. And all of this is integrated through this online store. So again, just really clear, very gorgeously designed site. This was done by an agency called Crazy Love Creative, and just really, really solid example of absolutely doing it right. And again, bringing those things back around having the thing very, very clear business goals for the site. It's not just take a printed brochure and throw it up online. It's got a purpose. It has a mission. It has a flow. It has really a rhythm to it as you go through the site. And those are the things that you want to look for. So with that, going to do a quick, just kind of a quick of how does it look to set these kinds of sites up in Duda? Very, very quick overview, just to kind of give a taste. And again, if you want to check it out yourself, you can go to bit.ly, either bit.ly/tryduda or bit.ly.com/tryduda, and you can check that out. First thing I'm going to show you here is once you're logged in to Duda, this is the first dashboard that you see. And this is, again, a professional website builder platform. So you can have a site in it, or you can have many, many sites. So again, if you're an agency or a service provider, or maybe as somebody who's setting up things for weddings or photographers, maybe you are setting up websites for weddings, or maybe if you are providing services to photographers, maybe you are setting up websites for many of your different clients. This is the place where you can come in, set those types of things up. In this case, I've got about a half a dozen sites set up in here. Again, talked about being able to white label things. So that end customer that you're setting up a site for, you can set a custom domain, use your branding, and have everything set up. If you have multiple people who are working on the site with you together, if you're in an agency kind of situation, you can set up different permissions for various members of your team. Your clients can interact with you and give you feedback right in the site environment itself. So you don't have these interminable email chains going back and forth. You can actually, like you do in Google Docs, you can highlight a section of the site and clients can give feedback right there. And then you've got all your stats and things as well. So the builder itself is super intuitive. I had been working with WordPress literally since its inception, good for what it is, but also 20-year-old platform or close to it at this point. And so coming in and seeing what a modern platform was sort of breathtaking. It's super intuitive. So I'm inside that first site. So I'm inside this HoneyBook webinar site right now. Click edit, and all the different sections. I saw that there was a comment in the chat about being able to put different types of capabilities in the header. We've got all sorts of different widgets that you can drop in for various types of things, and text, images. And so I think we've got some of the review site types of things in here as well as part of the default things, click to call, Yelp reviews, all of these sorts of things. And you literally can just kind of drag and drop them into the site itself. The really, really, really cool thing that I found is, if you want to go in, you want to add, change the slogan. Okay. New slogan and can do that. And you just go right in and you're able to edit right in the site itself. Same thing with imagery and the like. If you want to change an image, you click on it, and then you can go through and just update these things in real time. The super cool thing is this concept of taking stuff that we know works and almost making it Lego-like and putting it out there for folks to be able to use. So if you wanted to add a new section to this homepage, so I want to add something below projects in the About Me. Maybe I want to put, contact information down here. If I go down and I say add section, I have all sorts of different pre-built sections that I can get into. And these are purpose-built and already sort of pre-packaged for you, just like Lego blocks. If it's an introduction to your page, maybe you want to use one of these. If you've got sort of coming soon thing for a new service or a new feature, you might use one of those. About sections, logos, text blocks. If you're a restaurant, testimonials. In this case, I want to add a contact us section. And so I want to go through and I want to pull all of those different types of contact us forms up, and then I just want to add one. So I've got the different kind of pre-built ones here, and maybe I wanted one with a map. And so I'm just going to click on that, and it just adds it, and it'll load in all the different assets. You've got the form already set up. You don't need to get into all of the kind of deep hassle of setting those various things up. We've got a lot of these components here already set up, which makes it easy. And similarly, the really amazing thing, and I come from a super technical early part of my career, computer science guy who somehow ended up in marketing. The thing that blows me away is I can do all of the easy stuff that's supposed to be easy, but if I want to get into the nitty gritty, if I want to get into the deep HTML or CSS or JavaScript that's behind all of these, I can actually go into developer mode and I can actually dive into all of the code behind this. So we try and abstract away as much of that as possible, because again, if you're an agency and you're building a site a week or across a larger agency, site a day, there are various components that you'll be able to use as sort of starting blocks of things that worked and bring those things in. But there's always going to be the need to go out and fine tune things a little bit. And so if you do need to get to that level of technical detail, you can go in and actually dive right into the code behind this as well. And then after that, for any of these sites, you can go through. I can look at what it looks like on desktop. Cool. I can go in. I can look at what it looks like on mobile. Cool. And this is all done for me. You remember that contact us form that we just added on the other page? It's already here. It propagates across the various parts of the experience, regardless of what interface you're using. Your menu's here and it does all the right things. You can go in and tweak all of those, either the pages you're showing in the menu and such. And so it's just a super intuitive way to create a site, but above that, it's a really rich environment to show how to manage a whole network of sites if that's what you're doing for your clients. So I just wanted to give kind of a quick taste of that. Again, if you do want to check it out, bit.ly/tryduda can get you into a free trial, and you can check out all of those things. And with that, I think I want to open it up for Q&A. And again, thanks everybody for hanging out. And we've got about 10 or 15 minutes for questions at this point. And you can drop them in the chat. You can drop them. You can bring yourself off mute. I think we can do that. But either way is fine. And again, happy to answer any questions that folks have. Looks like we might have a couple coming in here. So there was, looking back through some of the earlier chat, there was a question about the star rating. Yes, we've got different widgets for putting those things in there. I see a question that just came in. Can we add icons to the navigation tabs? I haven't done that myself, but I am certain we can do that either directly. I would have to go through and take a look at that, but we can certainly do that. One thing that you do want to think about is accessibility. So if you've got icon and are using that as part of navigation, thanks, Ayo. Io says, yes, you can. And Io is one of the web pros who I know has done quite a bit of work with Duda. So thanks for chiming in on that. The other thing to think about, though, and going back to the icon question, is thinking about accessibility. And so this gets into a whole bunch of different both theory and practice. When we think about accessibility, there are some things like color contrast you want to think about, and making sure that you've got a high enough contrast between any things that people need to read or interact with and their background. The other, though, is if someone is using a screen reader, if you are using iconography for those types of things, making sure that there is alternative text. So if somebody is using a screen reader, they can interact with the website and are not hamstrung from being able to do so, because the site may be primarily set up for someone who is sighted. And if somebody has reduced eyesight or is in a different kind of situation where they want to be using the screen reader type of capability, those are things to definitely consider as well. So the question, let's see, there's a question here about, can you give an example of how to funnel or convert interested visitors toward an appointment? Yes, absolutely. So I think I'm going to go back over to David's site here just for a moment, and let me jump over there. Because this is all about setting up outreach. And in this case, he's really driving towards an initial conversation before an appointment. And this is, kind of what you're doing. And so this is making sure that it's there. We do have a couple of different widgets and other capabilities where you can dive right into appointment scheduling as well. And so those are things that you can bring in. So if you've got a spa or perhaps a salon or a gym where, especially in time of COVID, you need to be really, really specific about how many appointments at particular times to give some downtime for cleaning in between appointments and things like that, you can absolutely drive from the site into a similar experience to what I'm showing here, but for appointment scheduling as well. So I'm going to jump back in, check out some of the other questions we might have here. And is it affordable to use for a small business? Yes, absolutely. You need to check out the pricing page for our most recent pricing. But again, it's around $15, $20 a month per site, and that's, again, if you're doing it, if you're paying for a single site, you can get most of these capabilities on that basic level, especially if you're just doing it yourself as a small business. You don't necessarily need all of the team management capabilities and things like that. You can absolutely do it. And so we're right there with the same thing you would be paying with you might be paying to a hosting company. There are a bunch of different things, especially for small businesses in particular, that we just take care of, that you don't need to think about, that you would if you were hosting, say, a WordPress site that you were self-hosting with a hosting company. Things like SSL certificates and HTTPS, that's just included. We just take care of that. We had talked a little bit about content delivery networks and CDNs for performance. That's just part of what you get. So if you look at all of the different things that come into play, and especially if you needed to sort of roll your own for a lot of those additional capabilities that you just get as part of the platform, yes, we are very, very competitive with market, and better in a lot of cases if you're looking at all of these other things like HTTPS and CDN and these other types of capabilities that you would typically need to think about. So the question here is, Kent was hoping to know more about converting an old Duda site to a new one, if we have some insights on that. There are, the company's been around for over 10 years at this point, and so it depends on the older version of which is the older version of Duda that you're on. The best thing that I would recommend is get in contact with our literally award-winning support staff, and they can help you out. So if you go to the Duda site and then go through and click through on the contact us section, somebody in support can take a look at what's the previous version of Duda that you're on, and then how can you do the migration or the upgrade to the newest place. And Mac, thank you for linking that in the chat there. And again, we do try to have really superb self-help as well, and I'm loving that as I'm talking, I'm seeing the answers magically showing up in the chat window as well, which is fantastic. So I think just kind of scrolling back through the old or the previous bits in the chat here. We do have a couple of minutes left. If there is, we probably have time for one more question if folks have anything burning, and so kind of open up for that. Otherwise, we will call it a wrap.
Yeah, awesome. I think we definitely got to all the questions. The only other thing I could think to potentially mention, I know we had questions about scheduling appointments. And HoneyBook actually has a scheduling tool that basically is just a URL. So you could, most website builders allow you to embed that onto your site, whether through a button or a link or a tab or some kind of top navigation. So that is an option if you guys are a HoneyBook and Duda user also.
Awesome. Yeah, and we absolutely can do that. You can put in a straight link. If there are embed codes, we can embed additional capability that way as well. So it's really up to you. We have the platform as open and as flexible as possible, so we can bring in this sort of complementary capability, and again allows us to work very closely with partners like HoneyBook as well.
Yeah. Totally. And it looks like, Ronald, I'm not sure if this was a question. This lingo is maybe above my head, but he's saying white papers. How do you download them with visitors leaving their email?
Great question. There are a couple different ways that we can do that. We've done it off of our, I've done it on sites where you integrate with something that is capturing the email. So if you've got some sort of contact relationship management system, like maybe a HubSpot or something like that, can certainly integrate that capability, and have done that in a number of other places. Other things that you can do is, if you were just using, say, the basic form capability that is set up with Duda, a very, very straightforward way to do that is set it up so that when you get the customer to enter their form information, then do sort of an email autoresponder to that email that links to a PDF, or if your email marketing system supports it, can send that PDF as well. What we saw in the Volleyball example was they actually chose to go ahead and simply embed the PDF itself on their site, but there are a number of different ways to do that.
Gotcha. Okay, I think I understand it a little bit better too. So just to kind of connect the dots too, if you guys are a Duda and HoneyBook user, a good option is the HoneyBook Workflows tool, which you can connect to your contact forms. You can embed that, and then whoever fills out your contact form, you can easily directly send content and different information over to them automatically through that contact form submission too. So that's just kind of connecting those dots for you guys.
Cool. And Io just put in a really, really cool way to do this as well. After you after you fill out a form in Duda, sort of on the form completion, normally you would throw up a a thank you page or something like that. What you could do in this case is have a page that's not linked from anywhere else on the site, but is tied to that PDF. And then when somebody fills out the form, instead of sending them to just a sort of cul-de-sac thank you message, I was suggesting send them out to, or redirect them to that page with the PDF, and that is actually handling it all on the site. And that's a very, very creative way to do that. And again, all of those capabilities are available out of the box.
Awesome. Well, we are right on time here, guys. So appreciate you sticking around with us. And thank you so much, Chris. That was so much content and so helpful. I even learned a ton. So I know the rest of everybody else here did too. And thank you guys for bearing with us through some of those technical difficulties at the beginning too. But I think we still definitely were able to get a ton of value. So really, really appreciate your time, Chris, and everybody for being here with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate your time, the conversation, the questions, and hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And all of this will be available as well in rebroadcast, right, Mac?
Yep, absolutely. So it'll be recorded, it'll be posted to our YouTube channel, and then we will email it out to everyone who registered and attended as soon as that is happening.
Excellent. Thanks all. Appreciate it.